to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I want to welcome everybody to our special meeting of August 27th, budget meeting. Before I forget, I want to remind, we have a meeting next Tuesday, the 1st.
That's correct.
And then the 8th and the 10th also. Though the 8th and the 10th, the next week are special meetings, so don't forget. I know we get out of habit, but those are necessary, obviously, to have all the hearings on the budget and whatnot. So please note we have one council member absent. Of course, I want to welcome everyone here. First, we have items from council. Is there anything in particular council would like to bring up now? We can certainly talk about our budget stuff in a minute. Okay. Seeing no items from council, we'll open citizens' communications. And we also have, really the agenda before anyone jumps up, 2 public hearings, which we will not vote on, and then we have 1 vote tonight on the budget, which is number 3. We'll combine 2 and 3, essentially. But so the others are really just public hearings. We will deliberate as a council on number 3 after we get a motion, assuming we do. So the public can come forward and speak now under citizens' communications if they like. Okay. Seeing no one come forward at this point, we'll close citizens' communications. We'll move into ordinances. Do you need to read anything for the first one?
Yeah, let me
Go
go ahead
ahead.
and read each caption. This is the first public hearing on the 2015-2016 City of Victoria tax rate.
Okay, so we'll open the public hearing on the tax rate. If anyone wants to speak specifically to the tax rate, now would be the time. And I don't think OC wants to talk about the tax rate. He's the only one moving. Okay, well, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing on the tax rate, and item number 2 and 3 will essentially be combined.
Right, item number 2 is the first public hearing on the City of Victoria budget for fiscal year 2015-2016. We'll take that up at the same time as item number 3, an ordinance approving and adopting a budget for operating the municipal government of the City of Victoria for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2015 and ending on September 30th, 2016, appropriating money for the various funds and purposes of said budget, including appropriations of all money to pay interest and principal sinking fund requirements on all indebtedness, repealing all conflicting ordinances and appropriations, providing for severability, and declaring an effective date.
Okay, so let's have the public hearing on the budget. Just like the public hearing we just finished on the tax rate, if anyone would like to speak to anything on the budget, now's the time to come forward to the podium. Okay, seeing no one coming forward, we'll close the public hearing on the budget, and I'll entertain a motion.
Move we adopt.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the budget. And council, we can deliberate anything you need. I have a couple items, but I can wait. Unless y'all want me to go first.
Well, you wanted to talk about
The zoo?
from the pool demolition, Mayor?
That's one thing. And the zoo is the other. Maybe we can talk
I was
about.
hoping we could take that 75 and divvy it up between the electrical you're suggesting and some money for the zoo. Is that possible? You want to do it separate?
I suppose, the one thing, and I didn't ask the city manager earlier today, regarding, we can talk about all that, regarding the demolition of the pool, which the budget is 75?
Yes, sir.
There was some thought about perhaps we won't need all that to demo the pool. There may be some ways staff can help save money on that contract. We don't have an estimate yet.
I don't think Kobe does. He was, we were talking about maybe using some spoil that Public Works comes up with, and then the spoil when we do the splash pad to fill in the pool. But we still have some cost to demo the buildings around the pool and do an asbestos study, which we have to do anytime we're demoing a public building. So, but we're still, but you know, you can, yeah, so we can split it if you want to and use what we can do on demo electrical. Kobe's also getting some estimates on electrical for the Riverside Convention Center area that you had asked about. So we're still.
I think we're kind of still waiting on information. You probably need to talk to the contractor about it and then get your estimate for the electrical and see if they can both fit.
Because you would know what the electrical for the old Riverside Convention Center site pad,
We don't have that number yet.
I don't have the number
We're
for that.
working on it.
Don't have it yet.
So, the 75,000 is in the general fund in the Parks Department budget. So, it's easy to move that 75,000 around between electrical and pool work. If you want to, decrease that out of the parks budget to give some money to the zoo, then we need to probably settle on that, and just decrease that 75 to whatever rate you want to, and then we will work within that number, so.
I prefer to keep them separate.
Okay,
So,
So-
Mr. Alvarez, I wouldn't think that'd matter to you.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so with respect to the demo of the pool, y'all will be able to get us some numbers maybe
Sure.
before the end of next week?
Sure.
Or our meeting on the 8th? Okay,
we'll try to have you something, but again, if you just leave the 75,000 in the parks
Right.
budget, we'll be able to work, whether it's on the demo or the electrical or whatever, and as we move on those projects, we'd come back, so.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, before we get any deeper into individual comments by council members, I believe the finance director has some staff-prepared amendments that he may need to read into the record, and you may want to do that at the end of this discussion, or the beginning of this discussion.
We'll do it at the
I'll leave
end.
that up to you.
Okay, he's saying,
Okay.
he looks like it's okay if we wait till the end. Thank you for that.
It's when we get ready to adopt that budget, yeah, so.
Mainly, I know at the last reading of it, that's when you need to do your cleanup stuff. Well, the other item I had is the zoo, which I mentioned at our meeting last week. Now, they're budgeted at $150,000 this year, which is, I think, the same as last year. And we were provided a list of some of their capital expenditures. I think that was passed around, and everybody got a copy last week. And I don't have the one with the totals you
Oh,
made
yeah.
for me. It doesn't matter. It was about 50,000. I would like to amend the budget. I don't know the exact amount. We can start at, for example, 25,000 as a one-time contribution to the zoo to help them with some capital items. Specifically, they need a roof really bad. And I talked to the director yesterday and asked, if we allocate a one-time amount for capital expenditures, I don't want to dictate how they should spend it, but I kind of do. I would rather them make sure it goes towards a very serious issue like the roof. She said that's fine. She said the roof is their first priority. So we can kind of attach a string to it and say, we would like you to do that, because some of her issues can't be put off. They had to close early today because of plumbing issues. And so for us to continue each year to fund them, while at the same time some of these big items are neglected, is just, I don't know how to put it, but it prolongs the problems they have. And I think it's time we helped them get some of that straightened out. What do y'all, and I'm asking for input from y'all, she got 2 bids for the roof, and hopefully she'll get more. I think they were in the mid-40s for the bid. We can start out, at 25,000, but we could go to 30 or more if y'all would like. Have y'all had time to think about it?
You propose on amending the budget, but not the rate?
Rate.
Well,
This is a one time out of the general fund.
okay, all right.
It's doable. It's doable.
We have just a bit over our 25% rule we impose on it.
Yes.
And so there's a little extra money in there, that for this small amount that we could do one time that would not affect tax rate or
Okay.
anything.
That's what.
I understand what you're saying. Right. Good, very good question. So,
I thought the high on all their requests was like about 63,000.
It was.
okay,
Close
I
to
was up.
63.
Okay. And I may have that, I guess we could re-add it up real quick, but
I was thinking more along the lines about 40,000. That was not,
well, there's no question she could address a lot
because they'll have to
more.
raise the rest of it either way to get to that 63 number.
Is it possible to do it as $25,000 guaranteed and a match dollar per dollar if they raise it up to 40 to give them some incentive?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think, and that's part of
They'll
the reason.
raise it, I'm pretty sure.
I know, but still, it really incentivizes. There's an extra 15,000 there if they, we'll match it up to 40, guaranteed 25, but match it up to 40 if they raise
Yeah.
15 or something.
The reason I was chuckling is because my very suggestion this afternoon was to see if she could go over to the county commissioners and we would match what they do, but Sorry, I couldn't help but poke them a little there.
But they're not in the county.
We are we are sitting in the county.
Sorry. Couldn't help myself.
They're not going to like it if we keep picking on them over there, so. So absolutely, you could say 25 and an additional 15 match if they show private fundraising to match that 15. So for a total of the 40.
I like the proposal.
That's not too complicated to put together at all.
Not at all.
You have a $130 million budget sitting here, that's not complicated.
Yeah.
Down to the peanuts.
She's not here. Yes, she is here.
I would, Mr. Mayor, because I'm going to be working on the zoo's budget, on their contract to bring back to council, I would ask for one point of clarification, Mr. Balknight. You said $25,000 guaranteed and then $15,000 dollar for dollar matching. Is that $15,000 matching the first dollar they raise or starting with
After the 25.
after the 25? All right. So in order for them to have access to the additional $15,000, they actually would have to raise $40,000 of their own money.
No.
No, 15.
25 right off the top and then.
25 right off the top, and if she raises 5,000 of her own, we're going to match that 5,000,
Not to exceed 15,000.
not to exceed 15. Thank
And I
you.
assume that's raising for capital projects.
Yes,
So,
not operations.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I did actually hit up the county court.
Oh, you
Okay.
did? Okay. Okay.
I haven't heard anything back from them as well. But I did and their money was specifically would be for capital projects as well.
Okay.
Hope they're as receptive.
Haven't heard anything yet.
Okay.
Do you have anything for me?
No, do y'all have questions while she's here?
You don't have, what was the roof estimate? I didn't bring my
I've
estimate.
gotten two
sheet.
roof estimates. One was for $45,000, so we just got through that one,
This
you
one.
know, to the side. And then the other one I received was for $9,000, and that was just for patchwork.
Oh, no.
But the big issue is that the roofers aren't really wanting to tackle is it's an original tar and I
Flat.
guess pea
Gravel,
gravel
yeah.
roof, but they put this liner over it, and so now to fix the whole roof, the liner has to come off, everything has to be scraped, and then start from new. And so we're just trying to see what's more cost effective. If replacing the liner will be good for another 30 plus years, and that's definitely going to be the route. But a roofer saying, no, you need to redo the whole thing. Another one saying, we could patch it. So
Well,
it's going to take a lot of research for
I
us.
hope perhaps there's some roofers watching that own roofing companies that would be generous and maybe be willing to do a cost project or, as a contribution to the community.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and that would be awesome. Riverside Park, everybody here agrees how wonderful it is. I really look to see some significant investment in that park over the next decade, maybe even more private investment for activities and quality of life issues, and you sit right in the middle of it. And I want to see the zoo continue and operate because you have only things to gain from these other activities. The pump house kind of
definitely.
started. So you're sitting in the right spot. So I hope the investment continues.
Great. Me too.
you bet.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion to amend the budget?
You do.
Yes, you do.
You kind of
Okay.
clarified it?
Make a motion to amend the budget to include $25,000 guaranteed plus an additional $15,000 for a total of $40,000 with a caveat on that last $15,000 that it's a dollar for dollar match for capital improvements.
Second.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Any other questions about it? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so that's one amendment.
Mr. Mayor, could we go back and talk about the pool and demolition a little
Sure.
bit more? I have some questions, or I'm just trying to understand it. And what I'm trying to formulate is where the pool is in relation to where the splash pad would be, and overlaying that is the timing of when the pool that the Y is working on is going to be available to our citizens, whether there's going to be another summer that there would be nothing available if we don't move forward, or whether demolition of the pool is required for the splash pad.
It's-
So how does that all fit together?
It's totally separate. The demo and the splash pad are totally separate.
Okay.
So it's just, we'd like to demo that pool and clean that area up. The splash pad kind of sits in front of where the parking area, in my mind, is in front of the pool. And I say in front of the pool, if you were driving up and looking at the pool, the splash pad's going to kind of sit right in front of it, and you've got the basketball courts. Does that make sense?
Scott, you know where the U-shaped turnaround is to the pool, the drop-off? It's going to sit right there where that U-shape is. And so it won't, the back of the splash pad would be the front of the pool, and then we would demo after we got it done. So they don't rely on each other.
Okay, and then just to answer one other question, what's the condition of the pool right now? Is it full of water that's turning green? Obviously not, or is
It's
it
drained.
empty,
We go
or-
through
It's
there
drained?
probably every 2 weeks or so just to check on things to make sure, but
Okay.
it is drained. There's no, I've instructed staff to look at the security of that facility and start moving some things out. So we do keep an eye on it.
Okay.
But it's no hazard. It's not full or anything to this nature. Just any rainwater that we get, we'll go after that and take care of.
Okay, that helps a lot, thank you. What about the timing on the Y?
The Y pool is scheduled, I believe, for sometime later in 16. Have you heard an update on that?
Yeah, I
Colby?
talked to the YMCA director. He is going to, asked him about possibly coming and briefing council in October. I know that he was, we met on a different subject, and I asked him, he still is trying to shoot for this summer to be open. I know
For
he was.
16,
Yes,
2016.
16.
Thank you. That makes me feel better about some of the things that the mayor's talking about. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I certainly don't want to delay the splash pad over there.
Oh, no, and it won't. The demo won't.
We have, and while we're talking, I mean, we have the one that's open now, the splash pad. Of course, the second one will open, but, I get a lot of feedback from people about water parks. I hate to use that word even, water features, pools, whatever you want to call it. And, I think all of you would agree with me that this community is, especially the council, would be very interested in listening to if a private company came forward with the wherewithal to actually create a facility. It's a common misconception that somehow we're not interested in that, and you guys would agree. It's just that with our priorities of streets and public safety, we can't fit that in the budget. But now partnership with a company, like the people that owned Sleeterbond or something, if that ever came out, I'd talk to them in a heartbeat. So,
They're getting ready to do one in Corpus, though, so.
well, they sold that.
Did they?
Yes, they sold that. It's interesting, a story. I don't know the whole, but there's conversations always being had with different people, and I'm always willing to listen. So I'm not saying anything's going to happen now. I mean, this group would have to decide collectively, and maybe in the next 5 years or 10 years, but I just want the public to know that, yes, I mean, I get asked all the time, would you want a water park? Well, yes, very much I would. It just has to be some private investment in it. So, anyway, it does get hot here. Okay. Well, I got my one amendment for the night. Anything you guys want to talk about now?
I know it's not capital or CIP time yet. That's going to come when?
We usually do CIP in March.
March? Mm-hmm. But one of the things in conversation with one of our citizens, we're doing a lot of these streets in this new budget that I guess they're going out towards the loop. Lone Tree, maybe, I forget, Hanselman, a few others. What I'm hoping is to draw back attention to other more priority streets, and in particular Crestwood right now, that just keeps bugging me. And there's others, of course, but those more high-impact streets as opposed to the outlying thoroughfares, I just still don't understand the rationale why we're doing those, where we could take that concentration of money and start chipping away at something like Crestwood.
Don't we have Red River in this one?
We have a little bit of Red
Portion of
River.
Red River?
Right. And I know Crestwood is not scheduled till, I guess, 19 and 20, but
It's just all about taking that little bit of money and,
spreading it out.
well, no, not spreading it out, just trying to figure out what we can fit into that budget and, where the needs are. So we don't, we don't necessarily say we need to spread it out. It's just, okay, we know this section needs to be done, it costs this much, so we can get that done. You know, that's kind of, Crestwood's a pretty, I don't know the dollar off the top of my head, and I don't know if Lynn does, it's a very expensive project.
6
Okay.
million. Two-phase, 6 million.
Utilities, okay,
yeah.
thank you, Lynn. So-
Worst first, and
So that's kind of put a strain on, because some of the funds have to come from the utility side
No, so that's coming from sales tax.
or sales tax.
Yeah, you're looking about, I think we broke it up into 3 phases, $2 million each phase.
I see 2 phases, but that's okay. Which is about 3,
Is it 2? Well,
3.2 and 3.1.
Okay.
19 and 20.
but there were 6.
But I'm just looking at some of those streets way out there, almost at the city limits. And
I
thinking,
know what you're
well,
talking about, yeah.
You
the
add
open
that,
ditch
you
and-
add that pot of money, and you could almost do part of Crestwood.
Is
It's
that
something to
funding?
think about.
But the funding for those streets are not coming out of sales tax. The Hanselman, the
No.
Anthony.
No, those
So
are part of the
that-
bonds and leftovers, yeah.
Yeah, those are bonds.
Yeah.
So it's a different bucket of money, and that's the
No, I-
other thing we look at. How much money we got out of this bucket, and what can we do? But, the last few years, we've done CIP in March. If y'all wish for us to do one in October or
I
November.
thought we did it twice a year.
A
You
few
did an
years
update.
back, we did, and we do an update, but
Oh, an
actually
update.
sit down and try to go through it and see what council wishes the priorities to be. That's kind of the March area, and it helps us going into the budget. We put those, gives you plenty of time, and we put those projects in there, so.
If I may interject, starting September, we're going to start working on our sales tax budget. Our preliminary numbers, and you can correct me, we're going to have some money available to add some more street, but of course, they'd be there for a type of street. Lynn has started a list of those, and it's going to get with city manager and bring forward before council and also for sales tax, but that's still in the work. He's just gathering the data right now, but there are possible, I don't know which street you're referring to, but there is some more of the, well, that one's kind of pushing it a little bit, but I'm thinking maybe.
Well, you can find $3 million. I'd
Well,
like
that- I
Crestwood to
mean-
take a shot.
You
or
also
take a shot
got
at
Red
Crestwood.
River. You've got
And
a
finishing
lot
Red
of
River,
avenues.
of course.
You know, take your pick.
Go,
I know.
go over and cross the tracks on North. That's just, I was gonna ask about that. I didn't mean to interrupt. Were y'all fixing to?
Well, no, I was just going to say, Mr. Alvarez, when we look at working on that CIP for 17, we'll make sure that we keep that in our mind when we're trying to fit those puzzle pieces together. So,
That's what I would suggest.
sure.
There
Yeah,
are
be glad
3
to.
sections of Crestwood. Only 2 of them are in the current CIP, though. The other one extends beyond that 5-year planning window. But
Going in
there's
which direction?
going east. There's Maine to Navarro is in there right now in 2019 for $3.2 million. There's Navarro to Laurent in 2020 in the CIP for 3.1. But then you've still got Laurent to Ben Jordan is another $4.5 million that's still out there beyond that.
Navarro to Lawrence the worst.
Yeah, okay. Laurent to Ben Jordan.
Ben
Yeah.
Jordan to Laurent is pretty bad.
Yeah.
I think the whole street's bad, thank you. Whole
It
street's
is,
bad.
and many of these outliers that you see in the 2016 budget, they're open ditch section roadways with utilities that don't have to be replaced, and so they're more affordable.
They're quick and,
No curb and gutter required.
Right.
Well, and what we found on Laurent is it needed, we were finding gas line that was just under the surface, and that's been illegal for 60 years or more.
8 inches deep. Yeah. Hey,
They're not
Lynn,
supposed to be there, but you found them anyway. Now what are you gonna do about it?
the railroad track crossing on North near our service center.
Yes.
Now, the worst part of it is their right of way. Am I correct? Why, can we get them to fix the crossing? And
We can,
I mean,
we
is
can,
it- if
it's
you
their
go-
right of way. We can push them to do it, but we've had
It's-
limited success.
well, it's dangerous. I mean, it's got to the point of really dangerous.
Is it UP's line?
That is-
Okay. You know that gentleman you said, the public relations person for UP?
My new friend, yeah.
Please call him.
I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's get some photos. I did talk to one of their VP of Public Relations recently, and let's just say I got her attention with my comments. And so we have a dialogue now, so I'll send her some photos and say, look, it's unacceptable, right? I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. You have to slow down and turn to get at a right angle to go over it. So, okay.
very bad.
I'll follow up on that.
But you might ask that, they come into town every so often. They do a CIP too. And, I don't know when we're next on that schedule, but we may be next in line, who knows?
Yeah, well, I'll find out. So, okay.
We'll take all the help we can get with UP.
You bet, you bet. We like the railroad. I'm not knocking it. I don't want to get another phone call.
Depends where you live.
Mr. Alvarez, you had some more?
No, sir.
Anyone else? We have 2 more opportunities to do all this. So if y'all think of something for our next meeting, staff,
Gilbert does have some corrections. We, 2 areas we realize we need to amend and to carry over for next year that we're,
Mayor,
one we're not
can't-
going to get done. So, no, I was going to say, one we're not going to get done, and one we realize we need to increase on it. So Gilbert's going to go over that.
I'll wait till you get the handouts. And basically, the handouts the officer's handing out right now, there's 4, I'll call them 4 documents. Of course, two document has a tab, a yellow and a green, and a cover sheet letter, which is the first one, which addresses the color ones. But overall, the bottom line summary is that city manager and staff are proposing 2 changes to the City of Victoria 2016 budget. First of which is in the motel tax fund. We're proposing to increase it by $27,000. That increase would go towards the artificial turf. The reason for that, I'd like to add a artificial turf machine to maintain the $300,000 plus asset we're going to buy and maintain it. The second item before I continue, if you read the memo, you're taking home and reading it later, it says C tab blue. Well, the blue, if you go back to the blue, it gives you more detail to show you the beginning numbers, what's being added, and the revised number. In addition, in that blue tab, you have some revised budget documents that you can take those, take the old ones out of your binder, throw those away, and just put the new ones in there. And they're highlighted in yellow to show the numbers, what changed, okay? Move it on. Second item is the community center. We're requesting to move the, thank you, electronic sign that was budgeted in this year, carried over to next fiscal year. Move it from one year to the next year, and will be bid with other large projects that we have planned for the community center building improvement projects over there. Okay? And again, if you refer back to green, it gives you the whole details. And again, I have replacement documents highlighted in yellow for the changes that you can substitute for the ones you have currently in your binder. And lastly, I gave you a revised transmittal letter for the changes. And of course, I highlighted the numbers that changed because of the 2 requests we're proposing tonight.
I had a question on that transmittal letter. On page 5.
Transmittal letter?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Under the fiscal year 2015 update, that first paragraph, about the 3rd line up from the bottom of the paragraph, where it says 463 acres, we've capped 463 acres?
46?
That's a lot.
Oh, I forgot the point then.
Is that what it is? That's what I thought. I said,
We'll cap the
"Geez,
whole landfill."
I don't even think we had 400.
We just capped the whole landfill.
Thank you
I
for
wish.
that.
Thank you for that. I can count on you, Mr. Alvarez.
There was a
Okay.
bunch of us that read that, so thank you.
I read it, but I hadn't asked about
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
There's a couple of more tricks in there on the city you read all of it. No.
Oh, you got a few more?
No, I don't. That's the point. Okay, thank you, sir.
What's my
That'll
bonus
be on the
that?
next corrected transmittal letter, right?
Let me give you another one with that?
No. I just want a clarification because
No, you're right.
When did we
Absolutely
get to
right.
463 acres out there?
I don't think we have that many acres.
Is this a separate document on the website? I can't remember.
It's in the document with the budget
The
itself.
whole budget?
Yes.
I wanted to get it separate if possible.
You want it all by itself, sitting by itself?
Just the transmittal level? Well, if you just email it to me. If it's-
Oh, you, for yourself?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely. I'm looking back.
I appreciate that. Yeah. You don't have to put it separate on the website. That's okay.
Okay, I misunderstood there.
Unless it's easy.
And after the night, it'll be on the website tomorrow, all these changes, these documents. For the final when you go ahead and approve the ordinance for the first reading, there's a second page on the summary. I have listed out on the left-hand side is the original numbers that are in the CM1 currently, and it was submitted to you back in August 4th, the number. Tonight, of course, besides the two changes that I'm proposing in hotel tax, which is there in the community center, we need to add the $40,000 to the general fund. The new number of the far-hand right, as of August of 27, general fund total budget expenditures, $51,981,060. So it's
41?
51,981,060.
That's for the zoo.
That's for
That
zoo.
we just amended for the zoo.
Mr. Chet Bogdanay is going to check me out, so that number's right.
That's 40,000.
But you've
Okay.
already included this with the handouts?
It's not 40,000 on the hand. So tonight, when you go to the final numbers, somebody needs to change those numbers on the far-hand column, which includes that new revised number for general fund. And of course, the total bottom number for the 2016 budget, far-hand right corner, instead of being 129,776,486, is now 129,816,486. Those are the numbers that need to be approved.
Last three digits again, Gil?
486. 129,816,486.
Someone need to read that back. That's not we don't need an amendment,
Yeah,
I do.
and then we need to
Yes.
vote. Okay, someone needs
We-
to make an amendment, okay.
we need an amendment just to adopt the changes presented by staff tonight by Mr.
Just those two numbers? Or also the motel number and the,
What's in my document right now
Just-
should substitute,
that's right.
plus the general fund should substitute the original CM1 you have right now, or the ordinance numbers he has right now.
That's exactly right. And you can make the motion simply by adopting the recommendation of the finance director. We don't have to necessarily call out those numbers. I think he's done a great job of explaining that.
Make a motion to
Second.
adopt
That's an
changes per Mr. Rand.
great. And for our Robert's Rules of Order specialist, that's a motion to amend the motion on the floor.
second.
Second.
Any more clarification on that? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. All right. Anything else? If not, we'll vote on the first vote on the budget. Seeing nothing, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, that passes. And I believe that's it.
That's it.
Is there anything else, Ms. City Manager?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. We're adjourned.
Thank y'all.
Wow.
Next Tuesday, the 1st, don't